Veganism is an absurd ideology that should not be followed. An absurd ideology is either one that entails impossible expectations, ridiculous expectations, or requires ignorance to avoid either of those expectations. Veganism specifically falls under the ridiculous category. Here is the definition of veganism as per the group who coined the term. Veganism is a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. Cruelty, by the way, including killing. Basically, a vegan is a person who lives in such a way that excludes, as far as is possible and practicable, all ways in which they knowingly contribute to animal exploitation and cruelty for any reason. If you are not excluding, as far as is possible and practicable, all ways in which you knowingly contribute to animal exploitation and cruelty, you categorically are not a vegan, because veganism entails you do this. It is morally obligatory under this ideology. For example, if I often go to Outback Steakhouse and buy a steak on the basis of it being convenient to do so, I cannot be a vegan despite the fact that I am neither exploited I have neither exploited or caused cruelty towards any animals. I am purchasing already pre-killed, pre-exploited, pre-tortured, or whatever you want to call it, products. The acts have already been done, and me buying a steak is not the restaurant killing a cow in the kitchen to then serve me. It's just then giving me the already killed meat. That's simply not how it works. It is anti-vegan to buy Outback Steakhouse because purchasing the products entails that you are contributing to animal exploitation and cruelty by virtue of the profit motive, because it increases the likelihood that the companies will produce more of that product given a specific profit threshold and thus lead to future cruelty and exploitation. Basically, it is against veganism to knowingly do acts that simply increase the risk of animal cruelty and exploitation when you could choose not to do so long term. However, this principle is what entails absurdity, and here's why. There are a quadrillion ants on Earth. Each one is an animal or sentient depending on which qualifier you use for veganism. If you walk around willy-nilly, you are liable to step on an ant. Stepping on an ant kills it, which qualifies as cruel. However, if you were to constantly stare at the ground 24/7, you could ensure that you never step on an ant again, and you could do this if you really wanted to. Because this excludes, as far as is possible and practicable, your known contribution to animal cruelty, under veganism you would be morally obligated to do this as per its baseline principles. This expectation is absolutely ridiculous and thus qualifies as absurd. Ideologies that entail absurd expectations themselves qualify as absurd, and thus veganism is absurd. Categorically, absurd ideologies should not be followed.